Hello, hi, and welcome. Here is Simone Vincenzi from GTEx, growing together exponentially. And welcome to the GTEx show. We are episode 5, and today we have the one and the only Benji Bruce. Benji, give us a wave.
What's up? What's up?
Hi, Benji. So before introducing Benji and really understand how can we build a successful and incredible speaking business, which he's a master at that. He's the top one. I'm going to introduce a bit who we are and what we do. So our purpose really is to inspire people and businesses to live their purpose and to empower them with the tools that you need to make sure you live your life with purpose or your business is aligned to who you truly are. And here we are hosting this GTEx show that is our gift to you. We are running live webinars with I have this one second. Here we are. Okay, I had a bit of a technical problem, but now it's all sorted. So as I was saying, making sure that you have the tools with this webinar on how can you create the life that you really want or the business that you really want. And today we are really focusing on speaking. Today we are really focusing on how to build a speaking business. So as you can see in the page where you might see the webinar from, you have a live chat on the right side. You can log in with your Twitter account to the live chat and ask us questions. Or you can, at the bottom of the page, if you're interested about that, Benji has an incredible book on how to really be booked up as as a speaker. So that's I will really recommend you to have a look at that. Now, Benji, I'm really excited to introduce Benji Bruce. He is a world-renowned mentalist and corporate entertainer. He has been on stage for many well-known companies like Remax, AAA, Hilton, Intel, Best Buy, Furniture First, and many more. But what is really interesting that he started at a really young age. He was doing magic at restaurants when he was 13. And he will walk really up to tables and ask people if you wanted to see a miracle. And I'm sure that it's going to make some miracles for all the speakers that are on the call tonight or are going to see the webinar recorded. And what I really love about Benji, I've been subscribed to his newsletter for a while. And when you see someone that really cares about what he does and adds people value, I never saw something like this. The content that he puts up are like 50 pages long. Is incredible with packed of tips and something that is really useful that you can apply immediately. He's really the kind of person that has done it, he has tested it, and he gives it to you. Bam! I'm really excited. So for today, now I want to introduce Benji. Hi, welcome on the call.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It's basically, I mean, I don't want to talk about myself too much because I hate the webinars where everyone just kind of goes on, but the basics is, I started performing, I started magic when I was 10, and I started making money when I was 13. Then I started performing, getting booked on corporate stages. Then I kind of transferred into speaking, and then I started teaching other people because I realized that when I was starting out, I hated the fact that I couldn't really find any good information on how to get booked. So I was like, all right, now that I was getting booked, I said, here's what I'm doing and here's how you do it. So that's pretty much the basics. If anyone wants to look at my videos, they can just go to YouTube and type in Benji Bruce, and you'll see videos of me on stage doing it and things like that, TV appearances, all that stuff. So, all right, let's get down to the questions. If there's any questions on how to get booked, let's do this.
Well, first of all, for who is interested, the website is speakinglifestyle.com, which is an incredible website where you can find really a lot of tips and tools to use, and also is running a program called Platform, which is incredible. So the first question which I really want to ask that I had was, so is it really simple? How? How can I get booked as a speaker? I'm starting out. I don't know where to start. How can I move the first step?
Okay, well, that's actually, I tell speakers that you probably want to ask better questions, because how to get booked, the reason it's a bad question, that's a question that a lot of speakers ask, is because it's not specific enough. So if I ask myself, how do I get booked? Well, it's kind of like, where do I start? Versus if I get more specific and I say, how do I get booked using Facebook? Well, now I kind of know where to go from there. If I say, how do I get booked using Facebook ads? Well, now I know where to go from there. So the better the question, the better the answer would be. So there are, actually, I'm just now writing a blog post on it. I wrote 21 ways to get paid speaking gigs.
Yeah, I'm reading that. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm on like the second part, finishing it up. But when you're starting out, the only way that you can pretty much get booked is by cold calling and sending emails. I prefer the sending email method versus calling, but that's pretty much the only way to get booked. But before you do that, you have to understand the difference between seminar marketing and getting paid speaking gigs. So a lot of speakers, they confuse the two. They think to themselves, okay, I see a guy like Brian Tracy doing a seminar or something, and they try to market the same way to the corporate market as they would as if they're building a speaking business in the seminar market. And it's completely different, because the corporate market, they're more interested in, you're more like an entertainer rather than an actual speaker where you're selling products, things like that. So they're more interested in the presentation itself. The seminar market, your presentation completely changes. You have to focus on selling from the stage, putting all these people into a funnel, all that stuff. Everything completely changes. If you want to see the difference between the two, go to Brian Tracy's website and then go to Les Brown's website. Les Brown, he actually has a pretty bad website, but the text on the website, that's what you need to read. If you read that text versus Brian Tracy, he's selling all the products. Les Brown says, hey, I'm a motivational speaker, I'll do this for your event, things like that. Les Brown positions himself more as a motivational speaker for the corporate market. Brian Tracy positions himself more as the seminar market. So the way to get booked is, first you got to determine which one you want to do. If you want to get the paid gigs, now you have to really focus on building an image. So you have to collect social proof, meaning you have to get videos, pictures, all that sort of stuff. And yes, you are going to be doing a lot of stuff for free in the beginning. So you're going to be figuring out like where to speak. It's pretty much anywhere. You're going to go to meetup groups, anywhere you can speak for free. You're going to speak for free, not to get experience, because a lot of people say do that to get experience. It's more of to get video footage and pictures. So if let's say you go to a meetup group, or if you contact college or something like that, you say, hey, can I speak for you guys? And you say, I'm going to record this. If they tell you no, if they say we can't let you record it, you say, I'm not interested, because the only reason for you to do it for free is to get the footage.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's nothing for free. Like I'm giving my time, I'm giving my expertise, and in that moment, what is the reason why I'm doing that? That's what I'm hearing you saying, really.
Yeah. It's like you're focused on, okay, I need as much footage, pictures, all that stuff to put on my website so you can build the right image. I tell a lot of speakers, if you want to charge $10,000, you have to look like a $10,000 speaker. And when someone goes to your website, you have to really ask, do you look like a $10,000 speaker, or whatever you want to charge? If the answer is no, you need to get more footage and more pictures of you in front of big crowds, corporate crowds, things like that. So that's where you want to start. After that, now you can focus on doing things like really cold calling. And by the way, I know a lot of speakers, they're like, okay, I heard about cold calling. What's the new thing to get gigs? And that's almost like someone saying they want to learn how to play basketball, and they're starting out playing basketball, but then you say, okay, what you have to do is you have to learn how to shoot, you have to learn how to dribble, and the person goes, okay, yeah, but I know that. Yeah, I know how to shoot, dribble, but what do I do to become Michael Jordan? It's like, wait, like that is what you do. You have to get better at it to become Michael Jordan. The same thing goes with speaking. So there are tons of ways. You can use Google AdWords, you can use Facebook ads. There are tons of ways to get booked. But
okay, so what I'm hearing you saying, sorry if I interrupt you. What I'm hearing you saying, we are talking about mastering the basics here, right? So now what I want to ask from you is what is that you use, like the one that for you work the most and the one that you're most using. And if you can give us also an example about how you use that, I think that would be incredibly useful.
The one that I use the most is actually the one that is going to be very useless to a beginning speaker, because I get most of my gigs through spin-offs and referrals. And when you hear that, a lot of speakers, they kind of think, okay, all you do is you just ask someone for a referral. Like you go, you do it that's not the way it works. You want to essentially, you're always building systems around what you do. So before let's say someone contacts me, whether it's through phone or email, they contact me, I actually frame them, I set them up to give me a referral before they ever hire me. So I tell them, like, hey, by the way, I do ask for a referral, so if you like what you're going to see, then I'm going to ask you for at least 3 or 5 people that you can refer me to. So before I even get on their stage, I already set them up to give me a referral. Once I'm there, I know that like 90% of the marketing is based on spin-off gigs, meaning the people who see me on stage, those are the people who are going to hire me, meaning I have to figure out how to best use that, how to really create an opportunity. So what I do, an example of like the furniture first thing, I actually went up to the person who hired me. I said, hey, who in here should I talk to? Who actually has events that I need to talk to right after they see me on stage? She said, oh, talk to this person, that person, this person. And I was like, okay, bam. So those are the people I focused on. And the CEO of Ashley Furniture, he was there, so I went and talked to him. Versus doing it the way most speakers do, they kind of just go speak, hope someone's going to come up to them, versus being more focused on exactly what you're going to do. So it's little things like that, and that doesn't help a beginning speaker.
Well, I guess that can be used also for a beginning speaker, because what I mean about that is let's say I'm going to an event, I'm a beginner speaker, and I can ask the organizer immediately to say, you know what, who can I talk to? So it might be that the effect, right, is not as massive as someone that is already at your stage. But also, it can say maybe there is a couple of people that know a couple of people that know a couple of people that, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, you have to be very, very like deliberate about it, very, very aggressive with it, rather than how most speakers, they literally just get on stage and they just speak, and then they kind of just wait for people to come up to them. And if you're good, people will come up to you. The thing is, you want the right people to come up to you and things like that. So, but in the beginning stages, what speakers have to really focus on is the way you build your business and the way you run your business are two different things. When you're starting out, you're building your business based on cold calls, sending emails, things like that. When you're running your business, you're focused on maybe you have people that you hire, things like that, but you're focused more on referrals. So the end game is to do essentially like all referrals. And that's why, like earlier I said, Les Brown has a horrible website, but he's obviously the top motivational speaker, one of the top. So he can have a horrible website because he gets 99% of his gigs through referrals. So he doesn't need to have a great website. So that's essentially where you want to be.
Right.
And that just happens over time.
So now the question is, I want to send an email. Who do I send this email to?
Well, that actually depends on the event itself. It's kind of like if you go someone goes to allconferences.com, there's like it literally just lists a ton of different conferences. So if you're a sales speaker, you go there, you click on the business section, then from there you click on the sales section, and then from there it lists all these sales events that are going on. What you do from there is you simply click on a sales event, you see who's in charge of the event, who posted that. The first email that you want to send, you don't sell them on hiring you as a speaker, because you don't even know if you're talking to the right person. So the first email you send is, hey, I noticed your event, Sales 101, and make sure the email, you do want to use templates, by the way. So I have a thing on Google Chrome called Streak. It's this app called Streak. It lets you use, like, you type out an email, and you can save it as a template. That way you don't have to keep typing the thing out. The first email, it always says hi, then there's a comma, and then it says, I noticed your event, then you insert their event. I was wondering who's in charge of hiring the speakers, and then you put your name. Whatever you do, don't put the signature. Don't have John Doe as a speaker, as a sales speaker with the web. Don't put any of that stuff. And the reason for that is because the first email is all about just figuring out if you're talking to the right person. You don't want them to go to your website and like, oh, this dude is trying to get hired by us and things like that. That's not the way to do it. So what you do in the first email, that's the template. Then you load that template for every email that you send. And if you see a name, let's say you go to all conferences, you go to the sales thing, and you see a name, it says Jane Doe. Well, you say, hi, Jane. I saw it, and then it says, I saw your conference. You insert the name of their conference. Then it says, who hires speakers? And bam, you click send. They're almost always going to respond because in the subject, you want to include, the subject should be the name of their conference. So if the conference is Sales 101, that's what the subject is going to be. And the reason you do this is because they're always going to open the email, like always, because if someone sees that, oh, this is my event, okay, of course they're going to click email. Then when they read the email, you haven't included enough information about you, so they don't know if you're going to attend the event. They don't know if you're going to be a speaker, if you're just interested in the speakers. So they're almost always going to answer as well. So they're going to say, oh, I'm the person in charge of hiring speakers. That's one of the responses. 2, they'll say, oh, we don't hire speakers. Or 3, they'll say, oh, we only have our internal speakers. Those are the 3 responses you're always going to get. And the reason I say in the template hire speakers, like who hires speakers, is because, well, depending on where you're at, you want to know if they pay speakers or not. So if you just say who's in charge of bringing the speakers in, that doesn't give you enough information. But if you say who's in charge of hiring speakers, they'll tell you, like, oh, this person's in charge of hiring, or they'll just say, we don't hire speakers. And at that moment, you can say, all right, forget it, I'll just leave and go on to a different event. But once they respond with, oh, I hire speakers or whatever, now it's time to sell yourself. Now you say, oh, okay, and then you say, I'm a speaker who does all the sales stuff. Here's my website. Here's some videos and that sort of stuff. And that's pretty much an email process.
Brilliant. I can see that. And so just to reframe, what you're really saying is to get an email with a subject line with the name of the event. Then in the email, without a long line, author, speaker, this, that, Superman, and all this kind of jazz that we usually put, we can just say our name and who hires speakers. So I know totally. Now, I know you talk about Facebook ads. There are so many people on Facebook. There is something to leverage that, right? So I heard your article talking about Facebook ads. Would you expand on that?
Well, the Facebook ads, there's a few things that you want to do with it. If you're trying to get paid speaking gigs first, by the way, everything depends on your website too. So you don't want to do Facebook ads if you have a bad website, because you will lose money. So Facebook ads, it's brilliant because of how targeted you can get with it. So what I used to do a while ago, and they changed it, but what I used to do is I would actually upload a custom audience of just one person. And I would, so like, let's say that the sales 101 thing, and I would find, okay, they're the person in charge of the event. I'd upload a custom audience of just one person, and I'd create an ad just for them. It'd be like a picture of them, and it'd say, it'd be like, oh, hey, Jane Doe, this person would be great for the sales 101 event. And so think about it. If you go on Facebook and you see your picture and you see something like that, you're like, what the hell? And then you're going to click on it.
That's
So on top of that, it would go to a special part of the website that was just for them. And I would use Optimized Press. It's this plugin that allows you to do a ton of things. And the reason I would use Optimized Press is because a cool feature, it allows you to duplicate pages. So in WordPress, you can create like a website page, you can duplicate it. So I'll create like this landing page, and it'd be a very generic landing page, and then I would duplicate it, and then I would put their specific event as a headline, then I put maybe a picture of them, and then I'd like, it'd be custom to them. And that's how I would use Facebook ads. The way to do it now, it's kind of like using Google AdWords, except you can be more specific with it. So when you go to interests, you would type in meeting planners or event planners and things like that, and you would create an ad that says, this speaker is great for sales events, things like that. It depends on how targeted you want to be, but that's the basics of using Facebook ads to do that. It works if you do it right.
it is great. It is great. Just all right. No. So one thing that in the question that we had, and you started talking about that right now, actually, was about the website. So obviously, like, people are going to look online for my name, search online for my name, and I admit, like, I'm guilty for that. I don't have yet a speaking website, just a website for my company. So on that, what advice or tips would you give to people that are interested of creating this killer website?
Yeah, well, you definitely want to use WordPress and go to themeforest.com, buy one of the WordPress themes, and it gives you a professional layout. So the way we would build a website is first we would look at the overall layout, and we would look to see if it's just a nice looking website, and then we wouldn't worry about exactly what to write in the website or like what pictures are going to go where at first. We would just focus on, all right, does it look nice? Because it's like any type of image. If you look good, then people just assume certain things. So that's why I keep telling speakers, like, hey, if you want $10,000 to look like a $10,000 speaker, same with your website. People don't go to your website saying, like, damn, this dude must charge a lot. Then you're doing it wrong. And in fact, I remember a client out in Finland. They paid a little, like around $20,000 to have me out there. And the first thing he said, well, I actually asked him, like, hey, how did you hear about me? He was like, oh, we just saw it on the internet. And he was like, to be honest, after looking at your site, we weren't sure that we could afford you. I was like, damn, like they dropped 20 grand, and he must have thought I was like charging 50 grand or something. And so that's the response that you want to have with the website. And the way you do that is it built up over time. At the beginning, you're going to have a horrible website because you don't have pictures, you don't have any of that stuff. So it's going to be a horrible website at the beginning. But later on down the line, when you start making tons of calls and emails and doing the meetup groups and taking the pictures, the videos, you're going to add them to the website and replace them with better stuff, things like that. But it all comes down to building a website that revolves strictly around social proof. Just the big crowds, the corporate crowds, any TV appearances that you can get. That's what you want to build your website around. And I mean, my website, when I say it was horrible when I started, because there's nothing to put on the website when you start. That's why you can be creative, and you can post things like let's say if I'm just starting right now, nothing, I have no TV appearances, no pictures, nothing. What I personally would do is, if I'm at an event, I would take a picture of myself at an event with a crowd behind me. Like, so you're at a conference, and people are just sitting in their seats. I would go to the back of the room of conference. I take like a full picture. Those are the pictures I would have on the website. And the reason is because you have to really build up the image of you at an event. And the way media hire you is if they can visualize you on their stage. And that's why you want to make sure you have the right pictures and all that. But it just takes time to build that up. That's where the cold calls and cold emails come into play.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that it's really a work in progress. It's a constant work in progress. From what you have is fine for the moment, and the more you build, more you replace. So the key for a website is something that can be flexible. Like you talk about optimized press. I have optimized press myself. Thanks God, right? You can just play so much with that, and it's easy, like drag and drops, and just put in some images and replace them, creating templates. So that could be a really highly recommended key. Okay, so now, if I have to ask you before we finish, we have almost around half an hour. So before talking a bit more about your amazing book, that ebook that is coming out, I wanted to ask you if there is one thing that we haven't covered today that is crucial for a speaker to know. Let's say, because we are talking about beginner stage, we are talking here beginner stage. So for a speaker, the beginner stage to know to smash it, what would you say that we haven't said today yet?
Well, building a speaking business, what I realized, it's not about the techniques and the tactics. The techniques are out there. I mean, all of them are all over my website, and the techniques are out there. It's more of the strategy, and that's why one of my favorite quotes is from The Art of War from Sun Tzu, where he says, "All men can see these tactics whereby I conquer, but none can see as a strategy at which victory is evolved." And what he's essentially saying is, look, the techniques, you can see what someone does. What you need to pay attention to is the psychology of that person, not the tactics. Because it's like with Google Hangouts. This came out and everyone's like, oh man, let me do Google Hangouts. And then other people were like, all right, because of the business that they had, they figured out how to make millions from it, versus others they couldn't really make millions. And the tactic was Google Hangouts. The psychology was the person who was able to make the millions versus the person who wasn't. So if you're going to build a speaking business, if you're not making, especially in the beginning, if you're not contacting 100 people a day, then it's going to take you a long time to build a business. If you're not like really focused on not caring about the struggle, especially with like the older generation, because a lot of older people, they say like, oh, this new technology stuff, I don't want to have to learn it, things like that. The fact is, it's here, it's not going to leave, so you have to learn it. You can't be scared to learn it. You can't be scared because new technology came out. So you have to be okay with the fact that in the beginning it's going to be hard. Later on down the line, it's going to be easier. So in the beginning, you're going to be making 100 calls a day, sending 100 emails, if not more, every single day. It's going to suck, but eventually it'll get easier and you'll be doing the referral stuff. But that's pretty much what it's all about, to where don't focus so much on, oh, let me learn the new way to get booked and things like that. Instead, say, okay, here's the one thing that I'm going to do for the next year, which is contact people through email and calls, and then from there I'll do other things. It all revolves around focus, really.
Indeed, and it's something that you said in your article, there are these 20 ways, 22 ways, but focus on one. You don't have to do 22, because otherwise you will do 22 halfways, which won't bring you anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So on this, just focus on one thing. Could be emails and cold calls, something that works at the beginning. So focus on that, and then go on Benji's website and see all the others once you've done that. So go on the website anyway to see them now.
You have to learn, because if you don't have the right information, you're going to end up doing the wrong things. You're just going to do a lot of things versus doing the right things. And it's like, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said it, to where he said, like, never confuse motion with action, to where just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're doing the right thing that's going to produce the results. And a lot of speakers are like, oh, let me build my one sheet,
on a wheel.
you do this and that, and I'm like, look, just focus on number one. All you need is your website. I can't even remember the last time I ever got asked for a one sheet, and that's like the number one thing speakers ask about. How do I do it? I'm like, just focus on your website, really, the videos, and then
That's your one sheet.
yeah, exactly. And then it's like, now you just focus on contacting meeting planners. Just go to websites like all conferences, things like that, and just contact them nonstop. That's pretty much what it is. But everyone's like, what's the new thing? I need to figure out what's the new thing to get booked. And that's not how it works.
Yeah, this is something that I've done, like something that made me. I started speaking 1.5 years ago, as I was sharing, actually training as a speaker 1.5 years ago, and now my business is a speaking business, where I run seminar courses or online programs. And now what I did, I hired a virtual assistant from the Philippines, and what it does is meshing it, contact event organizer, or that finds online. He has a template that from tonight is going to change because it was too long. So thank you very much, Benji, because I wrote like this freaking long ass template. So I'm definitely going to change that and see the result improving. But that's it. Connect with the event organizer, and people will talk about, and you build connection, and then you can tap into their connection, and then you go to the level of Benji, where you get paid 15 grand for a speaking gig, right? So now, Benji, what can you say about your amazing ebook that is coming out? I saw you're putting like a lot of effort in that, so I really would want to know more about that.
Yeah, basically it has everything a speaker needs to know, everything from tactics to psychology, about how to build and grow a speaking business from scratch. And it has a lot of stuff in it. Like, there should be no reason as to why you can't read the book and then know exactly what to do after the book to get stages and really get paid speaking gigs. But it's called Booked Up. Yeah, if they just go to the website, then they'll be able to look at it. And yeah, I mean, it's a good book.
Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, really, I recommend that. If you want, you can get the book from this page as well, just scrolling down a bit, or you can find also Benji's website at the bottom of the page. So now, is half an hour is gone. Like, time flies when we have fun. Hell yeah. It's been great. Thank you very much, Benji, for your time. We really appreciate that. And if there is anything you would like to say before we finish the call.
I like gummy bears, that's all.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, for everyone, thank you very much. Keep following us on Facebook, Twitter. Like, we are all over the place. Share this webinar that is going to be recorded as well, so keep sharing it for people that you know that are starting out their speaking business and they really could benefit from what Benji shared today. This was the GTech Show, the episode number 5. We are going to have an incredible episode number 6 on sales, how to really start selling and the art of consultative selling, which is going to be extremely intriguing. And my business partner, Ben Shorter, is going to do that. For today is all. Thank you very much, Benji, again. Thank you, everyone who followed the webinar. Here is Simone Vincenzi from GTEx. Remember, live with purpose. Ciao. And